Hello children, welcome to RS Classroom. To learn 8th, 9th and 10th biology, visit RS Classroom channel in the YouTube. Now let us start the lesson. Okay, we have discussed about various classification systems. Starting from linear system. In that, the five kingdom system proposed by Whittaker is mostly famous. So let us discuss about diversity in the living things through the Whittaker classification. So in this five kingdom, first one is Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and animal. So based on the absence or presence of nuclear membrane, nutrition, way of reproduction, like this several characters are taken for classifying the organisms. So let us see about that. The first kingdom is Monera. So Whittaker kept the organisms which do not have the nuclear membrane around the genetic material. What we call them? Prokaryotes. So if the nuclear membrane is present, they are called eukaryotes. So what are the characteristic features of the prokaryotes? Usually they reproduce by binary fission. Binary fission means the body is split into two. For example, say bacteria, it's a prokaryote. To reproduce egg once, the body is simply split into two parts. That is called binary fission. And then the nutrition, if you see the nutrition, some produce, some prokaryotes makes the food by trapping light energy. That means autotrophic nutrition. Some prokaryotes show the parasitic nutrition. Parasitic means they depend on the host, means other animal to get the food and shelter. That is parasitic. Usually these parasitic prokaryotes causes diseases in humans. For example, bacteria. So based on their body design, there are some three groups in this kingdom. Three groups. The Archaebacteria, Eubacteria, the Cyanobacteria. So Archaebacteria, from its origin on the earth, there is no evolution. That means there is no change in its body. The body designs remain same. The most ancient forms on the earth, they can survive in any condition. Archaebacteria. And next, Eubacteria. Example, the E. coli bacteria, Rhizobium bacteria, Streptococcus bacteria, the normal bacteriums. There is an evolution in them. In the cyanobacteria, actually it is not bacteria, it's an algal form, algae, blue-green algae. Externally, they look like plants, algae, but internally, the body design similar to the bacteria. That's why they are called cyanobacteria or blue-green algae. It's a plant. They are autotrophic. Bacteria are parasitic. Next, in these monorads, locomotion takes place through some structures called flagella. See this long thread-like structure called as flagella. Some have the hair-like projections that are called cilia. The hair-like projections are called cilia or flagella. They are used for movement, that means locomotion. Cyanobacteria example, nostoc. Nostoc is one example. Anomena is another example. Next second kingdom is Protista. So Whittaker kept all unicellular animals in the Protista group. Unicellular. Unicellular eukaryote. In Monera also they are unicellular, but they are prokaryote. He kept the eukaryotic unicellular in the Protista group, but some are multicellular also. So in this reproduction, here also you can see the reproduction through binary fission. So different types of nutrition like autotrophic. Some show the autotrophic. For example, diatoms. See, these are the diatoms. They are plants actually. The diatoms belongs to algae group, algal plants. In ocean, they are the primary food resources for all living things. They act as a carbon sinks in the ocean. They are autotrophic, diatoms, unicellular. And some are heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means they depend on other organisms for food. Examples for Protista unicellular protozoans like Paramecium. This is the Paramecium, amoeba, and algal plants like diatoms, Chlamydomonas. These are examples. And how do they live? Some live as a colony. Colony means group. In that group there is a sharing of work. That type of group which share the work is called colony. Some live as single, solitary. So this kind of characteristic features you can observe in Protista. Next, third one is fungi. You might have observed the fungal forms in different, in various places. For example, bread. In the bread you can see the fungus, coconut, cooked curries, and pickles. They are fungus. And even these mushrooms. Some mushrooms we eat. But some mushrooms grow on the bark of the tree in rainy season. And garbage also. All these belongs to the fungi. Actually these are all plants. Then why do the Whittaker did not keep them in the Plantae group? Though these are plants, they are not autotrophic. Why do they are not autotrophic means there is no chlorophyll pigment to trap the light energy for photosynthesis process to make own food. Chlorophyll is required, but they don't have the chlorophyll. That's why they are separate kingdom. So in this unicellular and multicellular, both are present. For example, yeast is unicellular. The mushroom is multicellular. Most are microscopic. You have to see with microscope. But some are visible with the naked eyes like mushrooms. If you see the body of most of the fungus, you see the body look like fine filaments. That is called mycelium. The body is called mycelium. If you observe the head-like structures, these head-like structures are called sporangium. Inside the sporangium, you can see the spores. So these spores germinate and produce the new fungal form. So reproduction, the fungi reproduction takes place through spores. In previous Protista and Monera binary fission, in the fungi kingdom, the spores reproduction takes place. Okay, what type of nutrition happens? Since they cannot autotrophs, they can't prepare the food, or they show the saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic means they get the food from dead and decaying matter. In this method, first of all, they digest the food outside the body by releasing some chemicals. Understand? The food is digested outside the body by break down them into simple forms. After digestion outside the body, they absorb that product. This type of nutrition is called saprophytic nutrition. So some of the fungus are useful for us to prepare medicines. For example, penicillin is from penicillium. Some fungus spoil the food, clothes, and some fungus cause the diseases also. Next one, Plantae group. Plantae kingdom. So Whittaker classified the Plantae into several groups because there is a huge diversity in the Plantae. What characters he taken to divide the Plantae? So based on some characters, for example, body design, that means differentiation. See, normally the plant have the roots, the stem and leaves. This is called differentiation. Different organs specified to perform specific function. This differentiation happens from embryonic stage. But in some plants there is no differentiation. The body looks like same. They don't have the roots, the stem and leaves differentiation like algae. For example, if you see the moss plant which grow on the walls during rainy season, in that also there is no complete differentiation. So based on the differentiation, based on the vascular system, vascular means xylem and phloem which transport the water and food. Some plants do not have this type of vascular system. And based on the reproductive organs like a flower, some plants do not have the flowers, some have the flowers. And some plants have the seeds inside fruit, some plants have the seeds outside the fruit. So based on these characters, we can classify the plant into various groups. So let us see that. First of all, the Plantae here classified into two subkingdoms, they are cryptogams and phanerogams. That means some plants do not produce the flowers. They are all cryptogams. That means non-flowering plants. Phanerogams means flowering plants. They produce the flowers. First let us see about this cryptogams. Again the cryptogams divided into two classes based on their body differentiation. So they are Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. So Bryophyta means moss plants. In rainy season, you might have observed this moss-like plants on the walls and the trees also. If you take some moss scraps and observe under microscope, if you observe, it look like this. They have the root-like structures, but actually they are not roots. Stem and leaf-like structures, but they are not true stem and true roots that we see in normal plants. So these root-like structures in these plants are called rhizoids. Rhizoid. So plants without a true root system and true stem system and without a vascular system are kept in the Bryophyta group. For example, Marchantia. This plant name is Marchantia dixia. These are the examples for Bryophyta plants, usually called as moss plants, mosses. The second one, Pteridophyta. So this kind of plants you might observe in some houses. They grow in pots for decorations. They don't have the flowers. They also do not produce the flowers. Usually you call them as thorn plants. Thorn. So in these plants, true roots and true stem is present. A little bit vascular system also present in this Pteridophyta plants. How the reproduction occurs in these Pteridophytes means, if you observe the leaf, they are dot-like structures. So inside them spores are present. The leaf with these dot-like structures is called sporophyll. The leaf is called sporophyll. These structures are called sporangia. So what do present inside them? What do present inside this sporangia? Spores. These spores are like seeds, but there is a difference to spores and seeds. In the seed, plenty of food material is present, but the spores they don't have the plenty of food material. Around the seed there is a seed coat, and they have the cotyledons, but in the spores we do not see them. So these spores germinate and produce the new plants. So plants with true root system and stem system and the minor vascular system kept in the Pteridophyta group. So they are reproduced through the spores. And phanerogams means flowering plants. In flowering plants also there is a diversity. Some plants produce seeds inside the fruit. Some have the seeds outside the fruit. Fruit develop from flower only, right? After pollination and fertilization, the embryo develop into seed, the ovary develop into fruit. So based on that, the phanerogam divide into two classes. They are gymnosperms and another one angiosperm. For example, cycas plant and gymnosperm. You see the fruit of these plants. Yeah. So this is the gymnosperm plant, the cycas. So seeds are there is no fruit wall. There is no fruit wall around the seed. Seeds are naked. Seeds are exposed. For example, if you see the mango or pomegranate, seeds are present inside, but the seeds exposed out. These are also seeds exposed out. Naked seeds. These plants are called gymnosperms. What we call the plants which have the seeds inside the fruit? Angiosperms. In angiosperms again two types. Two groups are there. In angiosperms based on number of cotyledons. The seed have one cotyledon, what we call them? Monocots. The seed have the two cotyledons that we call dipart. So angiosperms again divided into monocot and dicot. So this is about the classification of the Plantae kingdom. Next we will discuss about the Animalia kingdom. Understand? Okay, already we have discussed about some kingdoms in Whittaker system. Monera, Protista, Fungi and Plantae we have discussed. So one more kingdom is Animalia. So Animalia also very highly diversified kingdom like Plantae kingdom. So based on the some similarities and differences, Animalia kingdom divided into various phylums. Before that, based on one character, that is presence of notochord, Animalia classified into three groups. They are invertebrates, protochordates and chordates. Understand? So in that first let us see about invertebrates. So invertebrates means there is no vertebral column. Vertebral column means backbone or notochord. So those animals kept in one group. In that invertebrates, different phylums are there. Let us discuss about them. So first one is Porifera. Porifera phylum. So pori means pores. Pores. If you see this animal, the body have the pores, like means holes. So this is called Sycon. Animal name is Sycon. So these animals are sedentary animals. Sedentary. That is, there is no locomotion. They attach to one place, or attach to a base like a rock or a tree, and live there only throughout life. So how these pores are helps to body? If you observe inside the body, you can see the internal design of the body. So due to these pores, the water circulates throughout the body, and that circulation of water bring the food and oxygen to every part. There is no differentiation inside the body, like the tissues and organs are not present, as there is no layers or cavities inside the body. There is no organ differentiation or tissue differentiation. Very simple organisms. Sycon, sponges, Euplectella. These are some examples for Porifera. Another phylum, Cnidaria. Cnidaria, or it is also known as the Coelenterata. So most of the animals in this group are aquatic animals. They live in water. See, this is the body design of the Hydra. Hydra is a coelenterate. It's a small microscopic aquatic animal. If you observe the internal structure, there are layers on the body, outer layer and inner layer. There is a cavity also. There is a cavity. So since they have the two layers, they are called diploblastic. Diploblastic. Outer layer is called ectoderm. And inner layer is called endoderm. In that there is a body cavity also. Even though there is they are diploblastic, there is no differentiation of organs and tissue formations. But body design is more complex than the peripherals. They reproduce through budding process. Through budding, they reproduce the young ones. So, for example, hydra and the jellyfish and the sea anemone. Sea anemone is one more example. So this is the animal sea anemone. Usually it makes a symbiotic relationship with the clownfish. So clownfish depend on that. And next one, Platyhelminthes. In this phylum you can see the worms. For example, tapeworm which live in the intestines, in our intestines, especially in children. So if you observe this body design of these animals, body design, they are more complex than cylinderids. But because 3 layers are there in their body, that's why they are called triploblastic. Triploblastic. And the body design is bilaterally symmetrical. Bilaterally symmetrical. That means if you take the transverse section of the body, vertical section, the two parts have the equal body design. The two halves have the same body design. That kind of body design is called bilaterally symmetrical. Cylinderids also bilaterally symmetrical. So they are triploblastic and there is a cavity also, but that is not the cavity which present in higher animals. That means coelom. We call it as coelom. But this is not the true coelom. That's what is called as pseudocoelom. Why it is a true? Why it is a pseudocoelom means the coelom is made from a mesoderm. In both sides, the coelom covered by the mesoderm. That is the pseudocoelom. The coelom present between the mesoderm and endoderm is the true coelom. So the coelom which either side are covered by the mesoderm is called pseudocoelom. Usually all the organs in our body and the tissues are formed from this coelom only. Formed in this coelom from that ectoderm and endoderm and the mesoderm layers. So since the coelom is pseudocoelom, the tissues formed in these organisms also not true tissues, not true organs also. But the tissue formation you can see in this Platyhelminthes group. They live as a free living, some are free living animals and some live as parasites. Parasite means they live on the host body and cause diseases. For example, flatworm. Flatworms in children's intestines. They acquire the nutrients in intestine and cause weakness in them. Bagdapurugu antaru. Bagdapurugu. The planaria. See, this animal is the planaria. Planaria. And one more example, flatworms. And one more group which has the worms like Platyhelminthes is the Nemathelminthes or Nematoda. Nematoda or Nemathelminthes. In this group, which worms are present? roundworms. Roundworm. In the plant element is from anterior to posterior, body is flat. From top to bottom, body is flat. But in the nematoda, the body is cylindrical, round. That's what is called roundworms or pinworms. These also bilaterally symmetrical. If you divide the body into two parts, both parts have the same body design. They are also triploblastic, but not the true coelom. So, not true organs and true tissues are present. So, they also live as parasites and some live as free living. The parasite causes diseases in humans. For example, elephantiasis disease. Elephantiasis. Elephantiasis. Bodakalu. So it is caused by filarial worm. Filaria. Caused by the filarial worm. It's a nematode. It roundworms. Its name is Ascaris. Ascaris lumbricantes. The male one and female one. They live in the intestines of children and cause some health problem. Cause various health problems. And the next one is Annelida. Annelids. They have the more complex body design when compared to previous phylums from peripheral to Cnidaria. They are triploblastic and bilaterally symmetrical. They live in various habitats, freshwater, marine water, and land also. For example, most familiar one is earthworm. To understand the annelids' characteristic features, see the earthworm body design. From this annelids onwards, you can see the true coelom. That means the true body cavity. Since it has the coelom, there is a differentiation of that means formation of true tissues and true organs are there. How do those organs are present in their body? That is interesting. The organ differentiation occurs in the segmental form. So there is a segmentation in the body. From anterior to posterior, that means from top to bottom, you can see segments are there, right? These are arranged one after another. In those segments, the organs are arranged. In annelids, you can see the blood flow in the vessels. The blood flow in the vessels. So if the blood flow inside the blood vessels, the type of circulatory system is known as closed circulatory system. So they have the closed circulatory system. So for example, earthworm which live in land and fresh water. Some live in fresh water like leech, jalaga. Some live in marine water, ocean water. For example, Nereis. This one is the Nereis. You can see it in marine water. Next, Arthropoda. The largest the animal kingdom, the largest diversity of animals present in this Arthropoda group only. What is the meaning of Arthropoda? Poda means legs. Arthro means jointed. For example, if you observe the legs of insects, they look like that. See, there are joints, right? There are joints between the segments. So this type of jointed legs are present in the arthropoda group. They are bilaterally and bilaterally symmetrical and triploblastic. They have the coelom. That's why true organ and tissue formation is there. But in this, the blood do not flow in the blood vessels. The blood flow in the body cavity only, coelom only. If the blood flows outside the blood vessels, that circulation is called open circulatory system. Open circulatory system. So based on the number of legs, you can classify them into various groups. A variety of arthropods you can see: prawns, crabs, butterflies, all types of insects, spiders. All these come under the arthropoda group. Next phylum is Mollusca. So in these animals, the body covered with a shell, body covered with a hard shell. Even you can see the snail also. The snail body covered with a shell. Having shell is the main feature of this molluscs. Some live in fresh water, but most of them are marine water. They live in marine water. So they also have the open circulatory system. Blood flows in the body cavity only. But body differentiation and complexity is more when compared to the previous phylums. Because for example, for excretion means the process of eliminating waste from body. For excretion, a kidney-like organ is there. See here, a kidney-like organ is there, but that is not the kidney which is present in higher animals. So they are also triploblastic and bilaterally symmetrical. For locomotion you can see a muscular foot. For example, I observe a snail. A muscular foot is there. Octopus, an example, muscles, snail, octopus. These are examples for mollusca foot. The pearls we use in ornaments are made from the molluscs only. And echinodermata. So derma means skin, echino means spines. So having the spines on the skin is known as is the feature of this echinodermata. They are exclusively marine. That means live in seawater only. Sea animals, only sea animals. They are not bilaterally symmetrical, they are radially symmetrical. And the triploblastic, for locomotion, they have the unique system. For example, if you observe this animal, this is the starfish. If you observe inside the starfish, there are tubes. Tube-like arrangements throughout the body, that is hydrovascular system. That means through these tubes, water is circulating throughout the body. By the movement of water in those tubes, it moves. Understand? The water movement in the tubes helps to move the organs. If you observe these arms, they are made of very hard skeleton. The skeleton is made of the calcium carbonate. These arms are used to catch the food. They are made of calcium carbonate. For example, starfish, sea urchin. This one is the sea urchin. Very diversified animals you can observe. So up to here, from peripheral to echinodermata, It's come under the invertebrates. Understand? After invertebrates, the next one is Protochordata. So chordata means having the notochord. Notochord means vertebral column, backbone. So why they are called Protochordata means these animals do not have this notochord on the backside throughout life. In some life stages only they have the backbone or notochord. This notochord separates the nervous system from alimentary canal. This arrangement helps to attach the muscles to the notochord, and that helps for movement. They are triploblastic and bilaterally symmetrical and have the true coelom. For example, Belanoglasses. Belanoglasses is an example. Amphioxus, Elothrix. This is Elothrix. This one is the Cordmania, sorry. Belanoglasses, Cordmania. This one is Amphioxus. And next one is Chordata. In the chordata again divided into various groups. Chordates means we have the notochord, backside. That means the backbone. So third one is chordata. That means the organisms which having the notochord are kept in this one. So when we observe the characteristic features of these chordates, they have the true notochord. That means have the backbone or vertebral column throughout the life. They are triploblastic and bilaterally symmetrical. And have the post-anal tail also. For example, you might observe some mammals like elephant, the horse have the tail. Even in humans also in very rare cases there is a small tail. So there is a post-anal tail which presented in the chordates. High body complexity we can observe. So based on several characters, again the chordata divided into three groups. The Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. This let us discuss about the vertebrata. In the vertebrata, based on the body design, five phylums are there. Let us see about them. The pisces, amphibians, apes, reptiles, apes, mammals. First one, let us see about fishes. So the most familiar animal, fishes, are kept in this group. So they have the tail and the fins for locomotion. Then they have the gills for the respiration, gill pouches. The body covered with scales. And they are aquatic animals. Heart. The heart of the fish have the two chambers heart. They live in all types of aquatic ecosystems. Next one, amphibians. Amphibians are the first vertebrate that vertebrates that live in the water, on the land also. That's why they are called amphibians. Of course, the tortoise also live in land and water. That is not the amphibian. Amphibians means which can respire on both and land and water. They are the amphibians. See, for example, the frog and salamander. So in the early stages, that means at the larval stages, these amphibians respire with the gills. For example, the tadpole larva respire with the gills. And when they become adults, they can respire with lungs, pulmonary respiration, as they live on the land. Even though they can respire with the skin also. That's why they have the moist skin. Why it is moist? Because to dissolve the oxygen in that mucus present in that moist skin, later it diffuses into the blood. So our India is famous for the lots of diversity of amphibians. In the western parts are hard spots for the amphibian diversity. Third, reptiles. So the skin is dry skin and the body covered with scales. Usually they have the four limbs as and in reptiles, when compared to amphibians, they have the four chambers usually. In reptiles also 3 chambers heart is there, but some reptiles have the 4 chambers like crocodile, but the 4th chamber is incompletely divided. In fishes 2 chambers, amphibians 3 chambers, in reptiles also 3 chambers and 4 chambers, so which is incompletely divided. So there is a pulmonary respiration, that means respiring in the lungs. Next is, it means birds covered in this one. The skin is covered with feathers. So they have the 4 chambers in the heart. According to the evolution, the waves are evolved from the reptiles only. For example, Archaeopteryx. Archaeopteryx has both features of the birds and reptiles. That means, according to that, they may evolve from the reptiles. They have the hollow bones which helps for flying in the air. And mammals. So mammals are mammalia. So based on the various characters, it was divided into groups. For example, marsupials. Marsupials means the animals which have a marsupial. So the care they babies in the marsupial. Marsupialism is a sac under the stomach. They keep their babies in the marsupial. They keep their babies in the marsupial and protect them, but not the throughout life. Example: Tasmanian devil, koala, wombat. These are some animals in the marsupial group. And the primates, humans. So why is a human beside the monkeys? Because we also belong to that one. So primates, the limbs highly developed. It means the 4 limbs. We walk on the hind limbs. We use the 4 limbs for various purposes. Highly intelligent animals. The nerve system is highly developed. They are intelligent. That means reasoning, language, analytical thinking. measuring the calculating the distance. So this kind of features are present. So grasping with four limbs is the main feature of the development. For example, humans, how we develop due to technology, the ability of the fingers to grasp the things, can create something from this. So they have the external ears, and they have the hair on the body. Usually mammals feed their babies with the milk. That is the main feature of the mammals. And marine mammals, the whales and dolphins usually think as fishes, but they are mammals. Some marine mammals have the hair also on their body. The sailfish, whales, shark, dolphins, these are all belongs to marine mammals. And next one, the flying mammal. And next one, flying mammal. Example, bat. So do you think the bat is a bird? No, it's not it's a mammal. Do you think these are the wings? Actually, they are not the wings. It's known as patagium. See, these are hind limbs. These are the four limbs actually. The fingers, the skin. The skin is scattered or stretched between the fingers of the four limbs and form a wing-like structure. This is called the patagium. So how do these nocturnal animals find the things in the dark? So since they are nocturnal, how do they locate? How do they locate the surroundings? They use the echolocation. The echo means sound. So from their body, when they are flying, they release the ultrasonic waves. So these waves strike the object and they reflect back. So based on that, it calculate the distance and change its direction. So this is about the flying mammals. So this is the story about Animalia Kingdom. There is a topic nomenclature also for you at the end of the topic. Already we have discussed about it. Nomenclature system means a naming system for the living things, which was invented by Carolus Linnaeus. It's also known as binomial system. Genus and species. Two names are there for every species. That is called scientific name. For example, Homo sapiens. Humans are scientific name. Homo is the genus, sapiens is the species name. You have to start the genus name with the capital letter, species name with the small letter. So this is about the diversity of the living things. Next class we will learn about sense organs. Okay.